Hello everyone, this is a talk on how I cracked MRCS Part A in the first attempt during my Robotic Surgery Fellowship at Medanta, Gurugram. So basically, the challenge was to balance a rigorous time intensive robotic surgery fellowship with studying for the MRCS Part A, and a strategic and disciplined approach was definitely required. This is a personal anecdote about the initial difficulties and the motivation behind this strategy. So, I would recommend you to begin preparation at least 4 to 6 months before the exam date. Prioritize the question bank, focus on question based learning from the start. A good question bank provides insight into high yield topics and the exam format. EMRCS is the only highly recommended resource which I would also recommend it to you. Understanding the exam structure is paramount. MRCS Part A consists of two papers, and detailed information regarding the same can be found on the websites. Setting a firm deadline by booking the exam creates the necessary urgency and motivation for you to study. So, regarding time management in a busy or hectic work schedule, I used the little and often approach. So, forget long study blocks. Instead, integrate short, focused study sessions into your day. For example, 1 hour in the morning before you leave for work, using breaks between surgical cases for flashcards or question based practice. The post work hour is absolutely essential for consolidation even when you are tired on most of the days. So, utilize your annual and study leaves strategically to take leave just before the exam for concentrated revision, and leverage your clinical experience in your favor by connecting the principles of surgery you read about with the cases you see in the operating room and on ward rounds. Regarding your resource strategy, so less is more. Question banks are paramount. Prioritize one or two high quality question banks and complete them thoroughly more than once. Flag your mistakes. Create a running document of incorrect answers and difficult topics to revisit. Targeted reading. Use textbooks only for specific weak areas identified by your question bank performance rather than reading them cover to cover. Regarding the endless YouTube channels which are present on the internet for MRCS Part A preparation, there is no practical end to these YouTube resources, and I would recommend you to avoid being caught in this trap of the mindless scrolling, trying to search for the perfect educational video. So, basic sciences are definitely the key to Part A success, especially anatomy, as anatomical questions are heavily weighted, especially in Part 1. So, visualize, don't just read. The hands on nature of your surgical training can be an asset here. Use your knowledge of surgical anatomy to cement learning. Anatomy atlases and software are freely available on the internet. Use these resources to fully understand the complex anatomical relationships. Practice, practice, and practice basic sciences questions relentlessly. So, the last month, concentrated revision in the final 2 to 3 weeks leading up to the exam should ideally be done using pre-planned leave. However, in my case, I did not have any such facility to take leave or an option to take a leave. Uh, Mock exams are absolutely essential. Take full length mock exams to practice time management and build stamina for the grueling 5 hour test. Review your mistakes again and again. Focus on the Word document of mistakes which you have compiled. This is your personal high yield revision list. The day before the exam, prioritize rest over cramming, and of course, arrive at the test center early, calm, and confident. So, this is how my work study schedule has been over the last 4 to 5 months leading up to the exam. So, my work comprised mainly of surgeries, ward rounds, and OPDs ranging from 9 to 14 hours a day, with night duties being once or twice every month. So, for studying, I had joined a nearby library for a dedicated study environment. I had used a single online coaching platform. My study duration would consist of, on an average, of 2 to 3 hours per day for 4 to 5 days per week, depending on my work schedule. So I try to maximize studying on holidays, for example Sundays, that is for 5 to 6 hours at least. I revised past questions multiple times, especially during the last 1 or 2 weeks. I tried to follow teaching schedule of online coaching platform to the best of my knowledge. I followed it rigorously. I had also prepared notes of the video lectures which were provided in the coaching platform. And thankfully, I passed with a score of 80% in my first attempt. So, these are some myth busters and my personal opinion regarding them. So, Part A is an easy exam. This is a commonly held assumption. However, by no means it is an easy exam, and definitely not one to pass without studying or with minimal amount of study. It requires dedicated and focused efforts. Joining an online educational resource or coaching class will suffice. Of course, it will suffice if you follow the coaching schedule regularly and religiously. I can scrape through the exam with minimal study. Studying occasionally or half heartedly can end up in disappointment. So, if you truly want to pass, you should be prepared for the hard grind. Exam is largely based on repeat questions. This is an absolutely wrong assumption. Part A is definitely getting tougher by the day, with my session having barely 15 to 20% or at the most 25% direct repeat questions from the uh, already available resources. YouTube learning videos are great for Part A. So, do not waste time in looking for MRCS focused educational videos on YouTube because you will never find an ideal one. So, instead, study from text based resources, study from the resources provided by our coaching platform. Joining multiple coaching classes will increase my chances of passing the Part A. It is an absolute waste of money and time in looking for a desperate solution for passing an exam. Instead, look for a one stop shop coaching platform. In my case, I had joined the Indian Academy for MRCS, which covers almost all the possible exam resources. I do not know what my work schedule looks like in the forthcoming months. So, should I book the exam date? Please do not book the exam date if you are unsure about your forthcoming work schedule, as a hectic work schedule can lead to lack of time for studying, and this can further lead to intense frustration and self doubt. It's been so many years since I last gave an exam. Will I be able to get in the exam mindset, and how long will it take me for getting adapted to studying regularly? It takes at least 20 to 30 days, in my opinion, to get to know the actual extent of the syllabus and how much time will you need to get a good grasp of it. I have done my specialization or super specialization in a surgical branch, hence, this exam should be a cakewalk for me. This is absolutely wrong. The pattern and type of questions in Part A is completely different from what you are accustomed to during your surgical residency or super specialization or fellowship days. Studying for the Part A is like studying for a whole new syllabus and format. Yes, that is of course true. It is impossible to pass Part A while having a hectic work schedule. This is not true if you are really determined to do it. This can in fact be turn out to be true if you lose track of your days by becoming completely engrossed in your work, and hence it can lead to neglecting your studies. I can always give another shot at Part A even if I don't pass this time. This is true. However, think of the amount of money you are pouring in for a single exam slot. It is almost 83,000, which I feel is way too expensive to take the exam lightly. So, a better thought process would be, don't give the exam without preparation if you don't want your money to go waste. A Part A online resources are expensive. Yes, of course they are. So, it is important to choose wisely a single educational platform to make the most of it. I can still pass Part A even if I neglect the topics which have less weightage. Theoretically, yes, this is possible. However, I would recommend you against it, as the weightage is not followed strictly enough in all sessions. So, please give equal importance to all portions of the syllabus, irrespective of the weightage they have. Thank you and all the best.